Hello everyone, we are going to study low pass and high pass RC filter today. We are going to perform an experiment on this. So before performing the experiment, we need to understand what is low pass and high pass filter and how this RC circuit can work like a low pass and high pass filter. So here to design this low pass filter, I require two components, resistor and capacitor. I simply connect these two components in series and I will connect a AC input source to this series combination. Now this is the circuit of low pass filter. When it will act like a low pass filter, when I take the output across the capacitor, this will act like a low pass filter. But if I interchange this resistance and capacitance, like in this circuit, and take the output across the resistance, it will act like a high pass filter. But the question is how these two different circuits are acting like a low pass and high pass filter. To understand that, let us first write the reactance value of capacitor, which is 1 upon j omega c. Now if you notice, the reactance value is dependent on the frequency. For lower frequency, this reactance value would be high, and for higher frequency, this reactance value would be low. Now, if the input signal is having the lower frequency, then this reactance value would be high, because of which the voltage drop across this capacitor would be high. It means that very low voltage will drop across resistance and very high voltage will drop across the capacitor. Suppose I had the input, I have given 10 volts peak to peak AC signal. Then at the output, I will get nearly around 10 volts because here very less voltage will drop and all the voltage will drop over here. So at the lower frequency, I will get whatever input I give, at the output I will get the same signal. But when I go to very high frequencies, what will happen is the reactance value will reduce to very low value, or you can say nearly zero, because of which the voltage drop, all the voltage will drop across the resistance and voltage drop across the capacitor would be very less. It means suppose at the input you have given 10 volts, here you will get very less voltage, which would be around 0 or near to that. So it means that this circuit is not passing the higher frequency signals to the output. In this way, this will act like a low pass filter. In case of high pass filter, okay, let us come to this. What kind of frequency versus gain or transfer function characteristics we get? Before that, let me just introduce you to the transfer function. Transfer function is actually output voltage upon input voltage. Now, if input is 10 volts and at low frequency, as we know already, output would be 10 only, then this transfer function value would be 1. So, in case of low pass filter, for initial lower frequencies, the transfer function magnitude will be 1, and this will maintain this constant value of 1 till critical frequency, and beyond this critical frequency, this value will rapidly decrease and will reach to 0 at high frequencies. Now, the question is, what is critical frequency? Critical frequency is a very important parameter of the filters. At critical frequency, the magnitude of this transfer function is around 0.707. So, you can normally say that beyond this critical frequency, there is a rapid decrease in the magnitude of the transfer function. So, that is why it is a very important parameter. And actually, this critical frequency depends on the value of R and C. The relationship between them we'll study at a little later stage. Let us now come to the high pass filter. If I want to design the high pass filter, we have to just interchange this R and C. What I have done now, R is capacitor is over here and resistance is over here, and I am taking the output across the resistance. Now what will happen? In this case, Xc is 1 upon j omega c. For lower frequencies, reactance would be high, because of which whatever input you give, all voltage will drop over here, and here there will be very less voltage drop, because of which you can say whatever input you give, that is not appearing at the output. and for higher frequency, reactance value would be low, because of which here there will be very less drop, and here there will be all the voltage drop will come. So if you have given 10 volts, all the 10 volts will appear here. So in this case, what happens at the lower frequency, transfer function magnitude was very low and keep on increasing as you keep on increasing the frequency, and it will reach to a constant value which is far beyond a certain frequency called critical frequency. Again, critical frequency is the same at which the gain is 0.707. This is the relationship between cutoff frequency and RNC. As you can see, cutoff frequency is inversely proportional to RNC. If I change any one of these values of RNC, I can change the cutoff frequency. Now, to perform this experiment, what I need to do, I will keep on changing the frequency of the input and I'll keep on noting down the output voltage. Here, at the input amplitude will be kept constant. So this is my observation table. This is my input voltage. I'll keep it constant to 10 volts peak to peak. Frequency I'll keep on varying. I'll start from 100 Hz and it will go till 10,000 Hz. And here, as I keep on changing the frequency, I'll keep on noting down the output voltage. And after that, I'll calculate the transfer function at each and every frequency, which is equal to output upon input. So here in this case, when you are varying the frequency, at the initial stage, the step size should be 100 Hz, means 100, you take the 100 Hz, then 200 Hz, till 1000 Hz. After 1000 Hz, you can increase the step size to 500 Hz. So after 1000 Hz, you can take 1500 Hz, 22,000 Hz, then 2500 Hz and so on, and go till 10,000 Hz. So this way we can perform it. Now first let us calculate the cutoff frequency, theoretical cutoff frequency. For that I have to just put the value of RNC in this formula. Here I am going to use 10 kilo ohms resistance and 10 nanofarad capacitance. Let us put this value over here. When I calculate this, I should get cutoff frequency to be equal to 190 Hz. Now here, this is the theoretical value or calculated value of cutoff frequency. But when I take this observation and I plot this data onto the graph paper, I get a graph like this. You get few points over here, and then you will join those points with a free hand. You will get a graph like this. In that graph, first make this graph on the semi-logarithmic graph paper, where the x-axis should be on the log scale, so that you can plot 100 Hz to 10,000 Hz. Otherwise, it is very difficult to cover the whole range on one axis. So always use the logarithmic graph paper. You will get a graph like this, and to get the experimentally observed value of cutoff frequency, what we do, this was one, I will just find out the point at which the value of this transfer function magnitude is 0.707. Draw a vertical line till it meets to this graph, and then draw a vertical line which meets to the x-axis. Now wherever it is meeting the x-axis, that is our experimentally observed cutoff frequency. Now this cutoff frequency, which is experimentally observed, and this cutoff frequency, which was theoretically calculated, should match nearly with less than 10% error. We need to design this circuit. We need two components, resistance and capacitance. This is the resistance which we have to connect between A and B. Before we do this connection, we need to first understand how this breadboard has been designed. These holes, these vertical holes are interconnected. So we can take all these holes as node A, and all these nodes as node B, and all these holes as node C. So when I want to connect resistance between A and B, I will simply insert the legs of this resistance in A and B. Now the capacitor is connected between B and C. So I will, since this whole line has been considered as B node, I will first insert first leg of the capacitor in node B, and then I will insert second leg of the capacitor in node C. Now here two more instruments needs to be connected. First one is function generator and second one is DSO. Now if I see over here, this is the function generator, signal generator. The purpose of function generator or signal generator is to generate the AC signal. Here we are going to switch it on. Now in the AC signal, there are three or four parameters which are very important. To generate any kind of signal, first I need to tell this function generator what kind of signal I want, or you can say what waveform I want. It could be sine wave, square wave, triangular wave, or any other kind of wave. So first I will select the kind of waveform I want. So I am going to select the sine wave. Second, I need to set the frequency of AC signal which I want to generate. And third, I need to set the peak to peak voltage of the AC signal. Now you can see this display. In this display, here this is a touch screen. So here if I'll touch this, we can see there are multiple kinds of waveforms: sine wave, square wave, ramp, pulse, all these. So I'll select this sine wave. After that, here frequency is written. Let's say I want to set the frequency to 100 Hz. I'll select this and I'll simply write 100 Hz over there. If you see here, from here you can select the unit. I don't want kilohertz, I want hertz. So I'll just select that. Okay. Now you can see frequency is set to 100 Hz. Amplitude, I'll just click over here. I want to set the input amplitude to 10 volts peak to peak. So I'll write 10 over here, and from here I can select this peak to peak. Okay. Now I have selected sine waveform. I have set the frequency to 100 Hz and I have set the amplitude to 10 volts peak to peak. Everything is set. Now to generate this signal, I have to click this button, which will let this generated signal to come to this terminal. Now I have to connect a BNC probe over here. This is the BNC probe. What I'll do is, I'll first identify this notch and I'll carefully place it on this and I'll rotate it clockwise. It will be locked. So this is my probe. This is the coaxial cable, BNC connector, and I will use this to give input supply to my circuit. Now this black one is always ground, so I have to connect this ground to node C. This black one is ground, so I have to connect this black one to node C. So node C, here this is A, B and C. So I will connect this black one to node C. And this red one will go to node A. Now I have connected the input supply to this circuit. Now I will take the output across capacitor. So I have to connect the output, means DSO, across B and C. So this instrument is DSO. Let me just switch it on. Here in this DSO, there are two channels, channel 1 and channel 2. I can use any one of these channels. Also in this function generator, there were two channels. We can use any one of these channels. Make sure when you're using, let's say, channel 1, you have to do all the settings in channel 1. So here we can select channels. So here you can see the blue border line is it shows that this channel has been connected. If you are using channel 2, you will go to this and do the setting over here. Okay. Now this is my DSO. I will connect again a BNC probe to channel 1 of this DSO, and then I'll connect it to my circuit, and as I can see, output is between B and C. I will simply connect these probes between B and C. Make sure you connect the black one which is ground, to the C node. Now my circuit is complete. Now what I have to do, I will simply keep on changing the frequency of the input, and I'll keep noting down the output voltage and what kind of result I should get. For initial frequencies, let's say we start from 100 Hertz, the output should come out to be equal to the input, which was set to 10, and for higher frequencies it should keep on reducing. Now before we start this experiment, let us calculate the cutoff frequency. Now cutoff frequency should come out to be, let's put the value of R and C. R was 10 kilo ohm and C was 10 nanofarad. So if I calculate this, it will come out to be 1590 Hertz. So it means that below 1590 Hertz, output will be equal to input, means transfer function magnitude would be 1, and beyond FC it will keep on decreasing and will reach to 0 at very high frequencies. So let us see whether this is happening in this experiment or not. Now this is our circuit ready for the experiment. So let us perform the experiment. So I have connected the input and output. At the input I have connected the function generator, and at the output I have connected the DSO. At the input I will give the AC signal, where I have given the sine waveform with amplitude 10 volts peak to peak, and I have set the frequency to 100 Hertz. In the experiment, I'll keep on varying the frequency of the input, and I'll keep on noting down the output voltage. As we can see this table, I'll fix the input to 10 volts, I'll keep on varying the frequency, and I'll keep on noting down the output voltage. And after that, I'll calculate the transfer function magnitude, which is the ratio of output voltage and input voltage. So let us start the experiment. This is our function generator, where we have already set the amplitude, frequency and the waveform. Now, if this is the input we are giving to our circuit, then as we can see here in the DSO, I am getting the sine waveform. Now to see what is the amplitude and the frequency of this sine waveform, what we can do is, here this is the measure button, I'll click on this, and here this is type, I'll click on this and I'll move this up using this entry knob, and I'll select this peak to peak so that it will be displayed on the screen. You can see here it is written peak to peak 10.1 volts. At the input I had given 10 volts and it is 10.1 volts. This much error comes, that is normal. And here for same way I can bring the frequency also over here. I do the same thing. I'll bring the frequency over here. I'll go down here, this is the frequency, I'll press this, and here frequency is also displayed. As you can see, it is 100 Hertz. Now what we have done, we are giving some input, and at the output I am getting the same amplitude output. It means that at the lower frequency, which was 100 Hertz, output is same as that of input. So let us write this reading in our observation table. So at 100 Hertz, output was 10 volts peak to peak. Now let us change the frequency of the input to 200 Hertz. For that, I'll click on this and I'll set it 200 over here. Otherwise, what I can do, I'll bring this cursor over here on this first digit and I'll use this knob to increase it to 2 and press this. Now it is 200 Hertz and at the output we can see it is 200 Hertz frequency, but peak to peak voltage again it is same. Let us write it again over here, 10 volts. Now I'll keep on increasing the frequency and keep on noting down the peak to peak of the output. Now together you see what is happening if I keep on changing the input, what is happening to this output. Let us see. Let me just bring it to the first digit. Now I'll use this knob to keep on changing it. Now together please see both the screens. Increase to 300 Hertz, peak to peak is 9.8 volts. Little bit change in the peak to peak voltage, it has decreased. I keep on increasing it. 400 Hertz, 9.6. 600 Hertz, 9.1. I keep on increasing the frequency and I can see the amplitude of my output keeps on decreasing. Please notice at 1500 Hertz, here the peak to peak voltage is 0.64. Keep on increasing it and see peak to peak voltage is continuously decreasing. I'm not noting it down, but you have to note down each and every value at all the frequencies. Let us increase it till 10,000. Okay, now this is around 10,000, and please notice over here the peak to peak voltage has reached to 1.4 volts. It means it is very small. Let's write the final value over here. At 10,000 Hertz, the value of peak to peak is 1.4 volts. Let us calculate the transfer function magnitude over here. Here output upon input is 1. Here also it is 1. And here it will maintain this value till FC and it will decrease, and here it is 1.4 divided by 10, which is 0.4. So here when you plot this data on a graph paper, you will get a graph like this. You have plotted on the x-axis frequency, which is this, and on the y-axis this h omega amplitude, and at the initial frequencies you will get a graph like this, and it will decrease beyond FC and it will go like this and it will reach to around 0.4 over here. You'll get a graph like this. You will plot this in the graph paper. Prefer to use a semi-logarithmic graph on which x-axis will be on the log scale, so that you could plot this from 100 Hertz to 10,000 Hertz. Otherwise it will be very difficult to plot this whole data on one graph paper. And what you do is, this was one, and you just find out the point at which the value of h omega magnitude is 0.707, and you draw a straight horizontal line till it meets the graph, and here you will draw a vertical line which meets the x-axis. Now wherever this vertical line meets, this is my observed critical frequency. This was my calculated critical frequency. This is my observed critical frequency. Now this observed critical frequency should come out to be nearly equal to 1590 Hertz. There will be slight error, but error should be below 10%. Now if you want to reduce the error even more, what you do, you should measure this resistance and capacitor with multimeter to get the accurate value of the resistor and capacitor, and then do this calculation. In that case, the observed value of cutoff frequency and the calculated value of cutoff frequency would be very near to each other, so error would be very less. So that's it about low pass filter. If you want to perform the same experiment for high pass filter, what you have to do is, you have to just interchange this resistance and capacitance, and in high pass filter case you will measure the output across resistance, and you have to perform the same experiment. In that case, initially gain would be around 0 point something or in millivolts, and it will keep on increasing beyond and it will reach to a constant value of 1 beyond critical frequency. So that's it about low pass and high pass RC filter. Thank you.